All my ops turn rap. All my niggas turn shooters. Shooters on the roof. On the internet, you ain't been a threat. You been stuck in a computer. Show me the proof. All my niggas turn shooters. All my niggas from the Uda. Welcome to the Uda. All my niggas from the Uda. All my niggas turn shooters. Uda, Uda. All my ops turn rap. All my niggas turn shooters. Shooters on the roof. On the internet, you ain't been a threat. You been stuck in a computer. Show me the proof. All my niggas turn shooters. All my niggas from the Uda. Welcome to the Uda. All of my niggas insane. They tryna catch a mistake. Young niggas putting in pain. It in the game. All my niggas from the Uda. All my niggas turn shooters. Uda, Uda. All my ops turn rap. All my niggas turn shooters. Shooters on the roof. On the internet, you ain't been a threat.
Let's get into it. You already know the vibes. You already know the vibes. Salute to everybody in the building. We back with another one. You already know what's going on. Frico or Rico, we don't know. If you do know, let us know in the chat. And if it's a Frico or Rico, does Diddy deserve time served? That's the question here. Diddy time served, motion document reading, 100 plus document. It's like, actually, the whole document is like 380 pages. I'm not even going to hold you. It's like 380 pages. But you know me, I'm going to try to knock this out as much as I can. Salute to everybody in the building. You already know. Salute to everybody that watched me during the trial. I will be back there October 3rd for the sentencing just to see what's going on. And we're going to wrap this up. And then after the trial, I got a lot of, you know what I mean? I think a lot of dope things that we need to get to that's centered around this trial and a lot of people that's involved with this trial. So salute to that. Salute to everybody. This is what we will be getting into today, though. You know what I mean? So salute to everybody. Everybody drop likes where y'all at. Everybody hit the polls. You know what I'm saying? Pause, you already know, but everybody hit the poll. Everybody drop a like and let us know what you're thinking. Y'all get in the comments. Let us know what you're thinking. I'll be pulling some things on the screen, but I am going to be reading. So just bear with me. I'm try to do a lot with y'all. You know what I mean? I know I've been chilling for a little minute, but we got to get to this. All right, cool. So as we can see, this is the document. I'm just going to scroll down the document like this. Let me just make sure y'all see it the right way. Boom. Yeah, I got y'all in full. Y'all really need to see me, right? Yeah, if y'all want to see me down here, I could do something like this. Maybe. All right, cool. But for now, we're just going to leave it be. We're just going to leave it be. All right, we're going to leave it be. I'm right here. Y'all just drop likes. All right, let's get to the document. All right, all right, so now we see the sentencing memorandum on the behalf of Sean Combs. His attorneys has put this together, and it's going to go down. All right, as we go into the table of contents, you know me, I'm not really for all this table of contents business, but let's just at least see what the hell we're going to be dealing with and how they laid this document out. So it says Mr. Combs' history and characteristics, Mr. Combs' upbringing, and the effect of the death of his father on his life. Okay, they striking early. He's striking early. Mr. Combs' dedication to his family, Mr. Combs' career and his work history. Mr. Combs has created a family for his business, colleagues, and friends. Mr. Combs is dedicated to inspiring those around him and helping people believe in their own potential. We've heard of some of these things during the trial because his defense has brought these things up to say that everybody that was around him wasn't a victim. He brought the best out of people. You know what I mean? Many of the people that was working with him, even though some of the people was still saying, you know, it was like some wild conditions. So Mr. Combs's contributions to the community. Mr. Combs continues his positive community impact by inspiring and helping other MDC inmates. Mr. Combs's drug use history, medical history, and medical diagnosis before and during incarceration and are important to understanding Mr. Combs's life and past anger management issues. Mr. Combs's behavior has markedly improved while in treatment and under evaluation at the MDMC. And the effects of Mr. Combs's trauma and why Mr. Combs is now considered a low risk of sexual violence or domestic violence. And two, the nature and circumstances of the offense do not warrant more incarceration, because we understand when they go into that, they're going to go into citing a couple of cases, which is Stebic, Tills, and Trowbridge. Okay, they're going to go into a case called, beside the Chavez case that they also cited. Remember, Judge Arun threw it out. He said, "No, you don't care about that." Also, those guys were not remanded even though it's another time, maybe those people were white, maybe Diddy's black, who knows? You could go into a lot of things about this thing, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, those people were not remanded. Those people were able to go back and forth to the trial. And then when it was all said and done, two of the people that was there, either Trowbridge, Tills, and Steebix, two of them received probation, while one of them received 18 months imprisonment because he did the most traveling with the women, and he was the one that initially started out with the tuitioning just for him. Then he bought him and his friend was doing it with the girls, and then he had some other friends that were fraternity brothers, and then he brought the girls cross state lines to go and chill with them. You know what I'm saying? Under false pretenses and promises of things. So they ended up going into like some brothel style thing. That's how that case was read. That's how they said they did it. You know what I mean? So since the other two people, one guy made one trip across state lines, but he never did anything with the women. He got probation. Another one made like, I think, one trip or something like that. He got probation. He himself, I think it was Tills, if I'm not mistaken, he was the one that ended up making like 6 trips and all of this other thing. So he got the 18 months. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they cited the cases. So I know they're going to go into a breakdown of that. So um hold on. What happened to my mic? Hold up. Let me get my mic. See, I'm telling you, the devil is deviling. Devil is deviling. Hold up. Devil is deviling, and I'm not doing it. Hold up. Is we back or is we back? Let me get into my chat, bro. The devil trying to devil with us. Hold up. All right, cool. I just caught it. Is we back? Is we back on go, homie, or not? All right, cool. Chill. God said, come. I can't see. I'm reading on the next screen. God said, you know what? Pull back up on your ops, homie, and go see if they dropped. Right. So look, so since we back on go. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see y'all all. Shout out. Listen, y'all gear up because we're gonna be at that trail. It's gonna be live and we're gonna be back. with the, you know what I mean? With the magnesians, homie. We're gonna be back outside with the magnetos. But look now. That's a big thing though. You see what I'm saying? It not to enhance sentencing. This is where I was at. So if you know, that's why we ain't missed nothing. So fuck it if I was mute. But look, this is where I'm stopping though, for real. Okay. But this is one F first. The jury rejected any notion of force, fraud, or coercion. We know that's a fact, right? Regardless of what we think about this case, whether people think Diddy's right or wrong, the jury did not believe Jane and Cassie to be you know what I mean? All of that. They didn't think that. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, but when we talk about cases, even though you're acquitted of things in your case, right? You've been alleged of so many things, heinous things that's in your case, all right? Even though you've been acquitted of things, they can still bring that back. That's called relevant conduct. And when they bring that back to enhance your sentencing guidelines to say, look, bro, even though the jury found him innocent of this, let's not forget what this case was all about. Let's not forget about the two victims here. Let's not forget he's not all the way innocent, even though he beat those two. He still got the two shins here. So let us understand all of that. You feel me? This is what the prosecution is going to be pushing for. So they're saying, listen, based on, I've never heard this one. I got to hear it. Something that no relevant conduct should be brought up. I think that's going to be far and beyond, bro. They're bringing that back up. So we're not going to do that. Okay. We're going to leave that to Beaver. Leave it be. The court cannot rely on acquitted conduct. See what I said? The court cannot rely on acquitted conduct when determining Mr. Combs's guideline range, but they are, bro. They are, because listen about this case. Remember, this case was supposed to be an actual case, right? It's supposed to be an actual case, right? But they kind of tried it like a D-rug, you know, D-rugs, like a D-rug RICO, like, you know, when they run down on people that's selling birds and bricks and all the other stuff. Yeah, they ran down on it like it's like a D-rug RICO. But this is it's a FRICO, homie. They ran down on it like a D-rug RICO, right? But then they tried it. When they tried it, you didn't really hear. Remember, we was all waiting to hear the other thing, the lace baby oils. And remember, son, don't ever forget about this, bro. Think about this for real, right? We never got none of that, right? So when they're trying it, though, it was a domestic thing, though, because that's all we was hearing. It's just the domestics, the violence, the D-rug use, the violence. Besides the FO, the oil ups, and the Astro Glass slip and slide. Besides the Astro Glass slip and slides. You know what I'm saying? This is what it was about. It was really about the abuse, right? Some of the things that's based on his abuse is the reason why the judge Arun didn't even give him bail. This is some of the pretenses of why he didn't give him bail. He said, based on you and y'all defense admitting alone. Remember, Diddy defense was saying, yo, if this was about domestic violence, we'd put our hands up. So I'm like, what? So why people ain't charging the way they're supposed to charge it, right? They want to go swing for the fence with a RICO. Did they really believe in potential victims? Don't know. You know what I'm saying? But Diddy people said, yo, we put our hands up. So they said, since you're going to put your hands up, bro, okay, based on what you was just going to put your hands up to alone, bro, it's reasons alone why you shouldn't even get bail. Boom. That's what Judge Arun said. Based on the things that's in the case. Remember, he only been got found guilty of what? 2 shin, homie. 2 times. Casanova 2 times. 2 times, bro. He only got, you know what I mean? So why is the judge mentioning the violence then? Why? Why is the judge mentioning the violence in the case if he got acquitted of all the trafficking, the whole thing, the RICO, the freak? He beat the whole thing. Besides the 2 Tushin things, I'm just saying. So why would the judge mention the abuse and the violences that he was doing and displaying? Because that's all conduct that's relevant to this case, bro. People done testified in this court to things that you was doing, and you done admitted yourself to things that you done did through your attorneys, bro. See what I'm saying? So this is what this shit is about. So they're making, so Diddy's team right now is swinging straight for the fences right now. Straight cheese, bro. I don't know if it's going to go this way, bro. But they are swinging for the fences, bro. They are. So shout out to his lawyer team, bro. Because they damn sure doing their thing, bro. He's swinging, bro. That's all I can say. Yeah. Hold up. All right. They said enhancing Mr. Combs' sentence in any way based on acquitted conduct would raise serious constitutional and fairness concerns. 6th Amendment problems, 5th Amendment problems, due process problems, 5th Amendment double jeopardy problems, and unfairness. So they laid it out. Applying the fraud coercion enhancement would illegally, because they really can't really bring that back, but they're going to try in some kind of way. They're gonna try in some kind of way. Maybe in a sense of the women, because remember he done beat those charges, but they could probably bring it back towards maybe in a way of the women, because remember he's charged with the tuition of both of these women, so they could still come back to bring that these women was frauded or these women was kind of coerced in a way for them to be kind of doing this based on a lifestyle. Trust me, they're going to try to tie it in some way. Applying the fraud or coercion enhancements will illegally end run the acquitted conduct amendment and defy the factual record. The acquitted conduct amendment precludes applications of fraud coercion enhancement. The fraud coercion enhancement is unsupported by the federal record. Yo, they wilding. No grouping is appropriate because there are no victims. That was the crazy thing about this case as well, is that who was the victim? Or who's the toots, at least? Because we could say that Cassie was the victim or whatever at least at one point. Jane, I don't know about you. But they all a victim of these drugs and they all a victim of the lifestyle at the same time. But if this was my question, who's the toots? If Diddy here doing it, he here doing it, she here doing it, who's the toot? All three of them. All three of them was the toots, bro. It's either none of them was toots and they was doing what they was doing, or all three of them was is condoning and engaging in the same conduct, bro. Cassie, the men, and Diddy. And they never called the men toots. So I don't know. No role enhancement is warranted. Mr. Combs was not a leader or an organizer. The way it laid out, because Diddy most definitely, you know what I mean? The women was the ones setting it up. This is why Clinton Howard, what's his name, right? He's coming out to say, nah, you was the one that was paying me. Like the men was saying, I was really getting paid from you, or the women, maybe Jane, you was paying me. So this is where it kind of opens up a gate for Cassie to be sued, because you was the one paying me. You was the one doing this, regardless of Diddy being here. I done contracted or whatever the case. This with you. So this is that little loophole there, is that Diddy wasn't really paying them and they was getting paid by the women. So that's like a little loophole there, right? Because, you know, one point Cassie said, Diddy, I'm so horny. I need you right now. Swift, oh, Jesus, I need you, Diddy. Cassie, you know it's true. Don't lie. Right? Diddy hit her back and said, Joe, you horny? Who you calling? Set it up. She hit him back like, bro, what are you talking about? I don't want to call nobody. Set up what, bro? I want you right now. Diddy said, bro, who you calling? Ghostbusters? Yo, Diddy is dangerous, bro. Yo, Diddy's dangerous, yo. Yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat. Everybody slap that like button. Everybody hit the poll. I haven't been live for a minute, you know, so YouTube be playing with notifications and stuff. But listen, we're going to get it back warm. We're going to turn it back up. You ain't got to worry about nothing. We're going to get back to it. So let's get back to some of this, right? So boom. This is a lot that they laid out, bro. This is 380 pages. They wilding. There were no participants within the meeting. Within the meaning of the guideline, the alleged criminality was not otherwise extensive. Mr. Combs is a qualifying 0-point offender. He has no past prior convictions or record. So that's that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, hold on one second, though. Hold on one second. I'll be back for y'all. I'll be back for y'all. Y'all listen to something real quick, all right? Y'all listen to something real quick. Hold up. It's a lot to read, bro. It's a lot to read, man. It's a lot to
I was winning a game, now the game's on me. There's no one to blame but nobody but me. Cause I know that I did wrong like you have done wrong, but these wrongs made me right, I see. It's like I lost your love, lost your love, and I wanna get that back. Baby, how do I get that back? Sometimes we only talk about wrongs. I love we never talk about that. I wanna know if we can move on. The time we can never take back. Take back. More together is the more we break it. But I know that we gon' make it. The sun always comes up when it's raining. So I know that we gon' make it. And even if we travel the road, let's take it. I know that we gon' make it. Cause baby, I love and no mistaken. I know that we gon' make it. We gon' make it, no we fell in love, but she don't love you. She gon' do you wrong like you done did me wrong. You gon' feel so bad, you gon' write a love song. But now I see you wanna make it right, make it right. I wanna be left in your arms. I'm sick of all these lonely nights. I know that you be doing me wrong. I wish that you could do me right. I love you, so I'm trying to move on. I miss it how it used to be tight, be tight. More together is the more yeah. But I know that we gon' make it. The sun always comes up when it's raining. So I know that we gon' make it. And even if we travel the road, let's take it. I know that we gon' make it. 'Cause baby, I love and I'm mistaken. I know that we gon' make it. We gon' make it, no, we gon' make it, no, me. If we don't make it.
Shout out to y'all. That's We Gonna Make It. Shout out to Destiny Mariah. Most definitely a most beautiful, amazingly talented artist. You can go check her. I actually met her through Ryan Leslie, actually. She used to work with Ryan Leslie. Shout out to her. Shout out to Ryan Leslie. Shout out to Udo on Go. Dope artist. One of the songs off my album. I wrote that song as well, if you didn't know. I write music. I write multiple genres of music. I've been doing that. I write music for people in the industry. Yeah, I've been doing that since a kid. So look, back to this now. Okay, back to this work. Okay, cool. So Mr. Combs has demonstrated acceptance of. Let me make sure y'all can hear me, right? Cool. Mr. Combs has demonstrated acceptance of responsibility. We're gonna see what that's looking like. I really want to see what that's looking like. What did he demonstrate? I'd rather go to that page right now. 126. What did he demonstrate? That's a big thing. Stacking the PSR. PSR's recommended enhancements produces an excessively punitive guidelines range. Any sentencing greater than 14 months would create unwarranted sentencing disparities that should be avoided under 18. Hold up, don't drop 18 USC. 18 USC 3553A6. The median man act sentence in criminal history category 1 is a year and a day time. Mr. Combs has already served it. Mr. Combs deserves a lower sentence than even the average case. DOJ enforcement policies treats and has always treated Mr. Combs' offense conduct as the least culpable type of Mann Act offense. That's what they're saying. Like, when it comes to those prior cases, they wasn't as hard on these people to give them 5 and 10 years. And there's not a case that's like Diddy's case. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because he's like John, but he's the guy that's there. He's the one, right? So it's like, it's just a weird thing. It's usually the man or the whoever tell you go deal with the John. You know what I'm saying? And whatever. It ain't like we here. Because remember, Diddy also don't want you to do it without him. So this is what makes his case different. Diddy's mad if you do it without him. He don't want you to do it without him. He wants to do it with you. Straight. See what I'm saying? So this is like something different. Like, if you know what I mean? It's not like he like, yo, go ahead, go do this with them and yo, come back, bam, bam, bam. And that's turning him on. No. That's getting him tight. He want to be there. He want to watch it, allegedly direct it. You know what I mean? Tell you, yo, chill, slow down, yo. Y'all going too fast. Yo, chill, hold on. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what Jane said. Jane said sometimes she would try to hurry up the score, get to the whatever real quick, try to bust him off real quick so that she could get to the room, so that she could have time with her partner, allegedly. You know what I'm saying? How's this your partner? How's Diddy your partner? Stop. First of all, you and his baby, stop. Your baby father and him's ops. Y'all ain't never had nothing good for each other in the beginning. How the hell y'all gonna have something good for each other in the end? That's why you was in the court on him just now, talking about all this stuff when the man was still paying your money, the $10,000 and all this other stuff. So what the hell is we doing? Straight. She didn't even say, Diddy, I don't want the money no more. That man was still paying allegedly the $10,000 a month and allegedly was paying her lawyer. What are you talking about? Do you understand that? So what credibility do you take from that lady? I don't know. Cassie, you could talk to me all day under the sun about Cassie. But her, she got too many tricks in her bag, bro. And she put Diddy in the trick bag, but Diddy put himself in the trick bag. That's right. Because that's your op shorty. How far can you go with her? How far? How deep do you want to? I mean, what are you talking about? If you did it with her, all right, cool then. But That's it. Once you went past that, you already surpassed the goal. 48 laws of power tells you that one, bro. I bet. That's right. Anyway, Buyer or John cases are incredibly rare and do not support a sentence beyond time served. See what I'm saying? Trowbridge, this case I'm telling you right here. Trowbridge, Tills, Stebic, Nabbit. The data underlying guidelines 2G 1.1 further demonstrate that Mr. Combs's Mann Act convictions is of the least culpable variety. This is the only case that we have identified where the government claims professional consenting adult males were Mann Act victims, because it's usually women in these things as well. You see what I'm saying? Whether young or old, is usually women that are getting, I mean. So Mr. Combs has already experienced just punishment for the offense. They think a year and change that he's been in there already is enough. We understand that 10 months already is a year, because, it's 80% of your time, whatever you're going to get. So every year is like 10 months. So the other months go to your other months. That's how it kind of rations out in jail. So it's not, you don't have to do a full year, and that's a year. Okay. It's 85% of your time, 80-ish, right? So you're going to get about 10 months out of 12. Mr. Combs' time at the MDC has been extremely punitive and demands a lesser sentence relative to the other cases. Mr. Combs has suffered innumerable additional collateral consequences to his professional and personal life. A sentence of no more than 14 months affords adequate deterrence to criminal conduct. Okay, wait a minute. Let's read that again. A sentence of no more than 14 months affords adequate deterrence to criminal conduct. So they saying basically, remember, Diddy's been in there. If you just want to run it by whatever a year, Diddy's been in there probably like a year and like maybe like a month or two, maybe a couple of months, right? Maybe like a year and a few months, right? Remember, 10 months is like a year. So he's been over a year already. So they saying basically the time that he has right now, if not barring one more month that he needs to be in jail and his sentencing is coming up next month, they saying based on the time that he has already, that this is enough to make sure that he does not do no criminal activity. He does not commit any of these acts again. He does not do these things no more based on the 14 months alone. How do y'all think about that? Do you think the 14 months is adequate for Diddy? You know what I mean? Is it adequate? Do you think this is enough time based on other cases that done been had prior? People getting probations, people getting, you know what I mean? It's tuition. It's tuition. He done beat the harder charges, but what looks like also is that the prosecution also, because they didn't fail all the way, but they failed in their plight because they went for this big old charge. It seems like the prosecution, even though they failed on the big charges that would have really put him away forever, it seems that they want to use these two charges to get out everything that they wanted to get out of some of those charges. Because remember, this is both 10 and 10 each charge carries. So they could get out of here. They trying to push out of here to get, who knows if you get a 20. I doubt it, right? This is tuition. 20 for that. Crazy, right? But they're at least trying to push for 10. If not 20, they're trying to push for 10 years out of that. Trust me. 7, 8 years. At least pushing towards 10 years. So we're going to see how that works out for him. A 14-month sentence would best provide Mr. Combs with needed rehabilitation, and then it gets into the conclusion. It's a lot, bro. It's a lot. Salute to everybody. Let me get in the comments real quick before I even get into the reading, homie. Shit, different. Yo, different. Shout out Lady Love in there. Shout out Alpha in here. Shout out Zana. You already know the vibes, man. Shout out everybody in the chat. Did I see the judge's letter yesterday about the Rule 29 hearing? Yeah, I seen the letter. I could read it right now. I think this is the letter right here. This is a run submarine. I could read it right now, but yeah, come. Let me bring that up. I think this got to be the letter. This got to be to I think this is the letter, right? Yeah. United States does. It says the parties have asked the court what issues they should focus on during Thursday's hearing. Is this it? Wait a minute. Oh, yeah. This is it. On Thursday's hearing on Combs's post-trial motions, in addition to any other issues the parties wish to bring up, the court would like the parties to address the following questions in response to this Rule 29. Does the government have any Supreme Court or Second Circuit case that has deemed a defendant's Rule 29 argument waived or forfeited in circumstances such as those presented in this case. 2. If Combs were to prevail on his construction of tuition, then would his conviction nevertheless stand on an aiding and abetting or willfully causing theory? Why or why not? Addressing the O'Brien factors, why is the government's interest important and the Mann Act's prohibitions no more than essential? What are the one or two best Supreme Court or Second Circuit cases supporting each side's position on these factors? Now, Combs argues that the record shows that every time an escort traveled across state lines and had sex, he filmed it. Is that true? If it is, does it change the First Amendment analysis? The parties will be given up to 20 minutes each to address any other issues. And this is what they told him yesterday. This was one of the last papers that I see. But I could go back into it more and see what's going on. Hold on. Let's move this up. Look, Brian, citing, bro. This niggas is wilding. So hold up, son. Skip, son. Niggas is wilding. Straight. Look, bro. This is what we dealing with, bro. Look, son, what the hell going on, bro? Now, y'all lying. Y'all lying. What the fuck is that shit that drag? Is you stupid? The hell I look like? It's wilding, bro. I was not doing that all day. Hold up. I think I'm close to it now, though. Our introduction, cool. Shit, man. What page did I start on? 23. All right, cool. This is where we at. Let me get back to the chat, see what's going on here. This is where we at, y'all. Sony popped out. Shout out Sony. Harry in here. Pause on your name, homie, but it's all good, man. We all outside, man. It's all good. Man, Ray in the building. Chantel Spring, what up? Virgo in the building. Salute to everybody in the chat. Let me just big up a few of the people. So, I ain't been live in a minute too, man. 80 in the building. Salute. Afi in the building. Salute. Chat was moving. Chat moving. Okay. Mass off TV. That's what we talking about. Everybody in the building. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Shout out to all of y'all, man. Shout out to everybody. Gangster. Everybody make sure y'all dropping a like. Everybody slap the polls in any of the channels that you're at. You know what I mean? Just make sure y'all hitting the polls. Yeah. All right, cool. So this is, hold up. I got to, I maximize this. Okay. See, I got it like that. Boom. Feel me? All right, cool. Let me just get something. Take one pull. This is reading, homie. I learned to read from the Reading Rainbow. I can do anything. Way to look in a book. Reading Rainbow. Straight, homie. We're not going to do that. All right, cool. Y'all listen to something in the meantime. Exactly. I'll take this one pull. Sure.
All my niggas for the roof. Who the block? Bang, man. All my niggas from the Ooda. All my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn rats. All my niggas turn shooters. On the internet, you ain't been a threat. You been stuck in a computer. Show me the proof. All my niggas turn shooters. All my niggas from the Ooda. Welcome to the Ooda. All my niggas from the Ooda. All my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn rats. All my niggas turn shooters. On the internet, you ain't been a threat. You been stuck in a computer. Show me the proof. All my niggas turn shooters. All my niggas from the Ooda. Welcome to the Ooda. All of my niggas insane. They tryna catch a mistake. Young niggas putting in pain. It in the game, all for the game. Niggas ain't playing for nothing. Went in school, laying in pain. My little nigga kill my little nigga full time.
All right, we back. All right, cool. We back, y'all. We back. All right, cool. So this is what the introductions is saying now. All right, Diddy. This is like 88 million pages, y'all. So y'all got to bear with me. Straight. The government accused Sean Combs of heinous crimes. It branded him an evil trafficker and racketeer who coerced and defrauded his girlfriends into having sex against their will. But none of that was true. And Mr. Combs exercised his constitutional right to fight the allegations and put the government to its proof at a jury trial. And at that trial, the government deployed the full force of its awesome power for 8 weeks. It presented the best evidence it could muster to support these disturbing allegations, but it failed to prove because the trial revealed the true facts. 12 attentive jurors heard all the evidence. They heard the testimony of Mr. Combs's girlfriends. They saw thousands of text messages, emails, videos, and other documents about the relationships and events in question. Those 12 citizens diligently applied the court's instructions on the law to that evidence and unanimously rejected the government's sordid. Hold up, let me just scroll this page all the way up. Hold up. The law that evidence that and unanimously rejected the government's sordid tale of coercion and racketeering. The jury's verdict could not have been clearer or more consistent. The jury found that Mr. Combs is not guilty of forcing, coercing, or defrauding either Cassandra Ventura or Jane, and that he is not guilty of RICO conspiracy. But the jury did find that Mr. Combs is guilty of tuition offenses, obviously, because as government emphasized in closing arguments, those counts didn't require proof of threats, force, or fraud or coercion, because all you need to do to prove those things is receipts. You could take receipts. You paid for the flights, you paid for the booking, the hotels, all these things. Based on receipts, they can prove this charge. They don't need to prove this charge through force. They don't need to prove this charge through fraud or coercion. See what I'm saying? This is what his lawyers is basically saying. All right. Put simply, the jury has spoken. Its verdict represents an affirmative indication of innocence. Thompson versus Clark. Mr. Combs must be sentenced for what the jury convicted him of: interstate transportation of fully consenting adult with intent to engage in tuition. But it would be unlawful and a perversion of justice for the court to sentence him as if the jury had convicted him of the sex trafficking and a RICO, or to increase his sentence based on the court's own finding about force or coercion or racketeering. That's based on, I'm saying, the relevant conduct that will be brought back even if you're acquitted of this conduct. So he said, what is the point of a jury trial? Right? They said, what is the point of a jury trial if the defendant can be acquitted, but then sentenced as if he had been convicted? Doing so nullifies the entire purpose of a jury. Juries are democratic institutions called upon to represent the community as a bulwark between the state and the accused, and their verdicts are the tools by which they do so. Consistent with this, juries were historically able to use acquittals in various ways to limit the state's authority to punish and ability that the founders prized. With an acquittal, the jury, as representative of the community, has been asked by the state to authorize punishment for an alleged crime and has refused to do so. McClinton versus the United States, they go into a case. That is why acquittals have long been accorded special weight and are traditionally treated as inviolate, even if a judge disagrees with the jury's verdict. Accordingly, Supreme Court justices from across the ideological spectrum and many other jurists, lawyers, and commentators have upon that using. Let me move this page up. I don't want to use this right here, this scroll thing, man, because it's just gonna probably push me back to the next page. All right, where am I? Upon that, using acquitted conduct to enhance a sentence violates the Fifth Amendment. violates the Fifth and Sixth Amendments, as well as fundamental principles of fairness and justice. It also erodes the perceived fairness of the criminal justice system. Indeed, the woman on the street would be quite taken aback to learn that a person's sentence could be increased based on acquitted conduct. Yet, both the probation officers and the government asked the court to do just that. Probation recommends guidelines enhancements based on acquitted conduct and the imposition of a sentence 5 times longer than the average sentence of the Mann Act defendants with similar criminal histories, and justifies this lengthy sentence based on the supposed fraud or coercion that the jury rejected. Now, the prosecutors, for their part, have lost all perspective. They advocate for numerous enhancements. Even probation didn't find warranted and seek to sentence Mr. Combs under different enhancements for a crime he was never charged with, which would result in guidelines range above the statutory maximum of 20 years. This is wildly out of proportion to the conduct at issue. Threesomes were fully competent adult men and women voluntarily crossed state line and had consensual sex with each other, and the defendant made no money from the conduct. We are unaware of any other Mann Act prosecution based cases on such conduct. Nevertheless, the median sentence for the Mann Act defendant's sentence under the applicable guideline 2G 1.1b1 in criminal history category 1 is 12 months, because remember, he ain't got no history. So category 1 is 12 months incarceration, and the average sentence is under 15 months. This is why they're pushing him at 14 months to say that's enough time for him to be rehabilitated. Got you. Even when one includes defendants who received the coercion enhancement, thus probation recommends a sentence 5 times the typical sentence, and the government apparently believes a sentence 20 times the typical sentence may be appropriate here. This draconian approach makes Alice in Wonderland's Queen of Hearts seem benevolent. Instead of sentence first, verdict after, the government's view is verdict be damned, lock him up and throw away the key. Fairness and justice, as well as the Constitution, federal sentencing laws, and common sense require a far lower sentence in this unique case. Mr. Combs is an extraordinary person, and you know that they was already pushing for extraordinary circumstances in this case. Okay, they said Mr. Combs' case is extraordinary circumstances. There's no case like this, him being in MDC under them conditions and all of those things. So they try to cite, because they cited a case where someone was actually let out of MDC based on some conditions, but that person was older in age and they had medical history, I think like some kind of respiratory thing. And I don't know if that was during Ovid. I ain't got to say the C on it, right? Ovid. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it was during that time as well. That could have been that. But regardless of the fact, that person was much older in age than Diddy. And that person was having health-related problems for real, for real. And this is why that person was let out. So Diddy was trying to push for that same thing, but was denied. Okay, cool. All right. Mr. Combs is an extraordinary person who has made monumental professional and personal contributions throughout his 55 years to society, his family, his community, and beyond. And just as importantly, Mr. Combs has much more to give. It will not serve any of the purposes of sentencing to keep him incarcerated and away from his elderly mother and 7 children, unable to contribute meaningfully to the community as he has done throughout his adult life. Although his father was unalived on the streets of Manhattan when he was just 3 years old, Mr. Combs pursued a life of hard work, love, family, and faith. He went on to Howard University, entered to the world of entertainment in New York City, built extraordinary businesses, and created a new culture and image for Black Americans, which had a lasting impact on music, fashion, and other industries throughout the world. Along the way, he empowered and inspired generations. At the same time, he nourished growing a family and community, becoming a father and a father figure to those that needed him. He dedicated substantial energy, resources, and passion to charitable work and made personal sacrifices for others so that they too could thrive. It was not easy. and Mr. Combs overcame substantial obstacles. He lost many loved ones, including his father, his best friend Christopher Wallace, professionally known as Notorious Big, as well as the love of his life and the mother of his 4 children, Kim Porter, and most recently his mentor, Andre Harrell. Now, these events were devastating, and for decades, Mr. Combs has struggled with serious substance abuse issues, anger and anxiety, and other flaws that he did not properly and professionally address until his incarceration last year. Now, in that respect, Mr. Combs' near 13-month in prison has been life-changing, productive, and a testament to his desire to return to his family and community and lead the best life possible. He has taken the time to achieve necessary rehabilitation from day one at MDC, including getting clean of all substances. And while he and his doctors have worked productively with all the available therapeutic tools at MDC and made significant progress, his doctors all agree that the next step in Mr. Combs' treatment is to ensure that the changes he has made last a lifetime, requires therapy that can only effectively be provided outside the walls of prison, which makes sense. They're going to treat you in there, but are you really getting a real psychological treatment in prison? You're not. So let's not say that we are. You're not. Trust me. And people in prison don't want to go to, they don't want to do their job. Mr. Combs has 7 children, 4 by now deceased Kim Porter, who desperately await his return to their lives. Quincy, Justin, Christian, Chance, twins Delilah and Jesse, and 2-year-old Love. His 84-year-old mother, shout out to his mom, son, 85 years old, son, coming to the trial every day, son. She was there for him every day, bro. Some of our moms wouldn't even go on. If you live with your mom, you call her right now and say, go in my room, get my charger. She say, if you don't call me back later, she wouldn't even go get the charger. And you live with your mother. You hear me? All right. This woman came out every day for her son. So you know her son, and she loved him. Right? His 84-year-old mother, Janice Combs, who has had brain surgery and was hospitalized. Damn, I never knew that. That's crazy. And was hospitalized for heart concerns right before his arrest, also needs him. Wow. As she writes to this court, she depends on Sean for emotional support. He always looked after my health and well-being. I don't know how much longer I will be around, but I would love to be able to see him and his children together again. Swear, bro. That's from a letter from Janice Combs. The court has a difficult task when fashioning any sentence, but here the right answer could not be more obvious. In the past 2 years, Mr. Combs' career and reputation have been destroyed. He has served over a year in one of the most notorious jails in America, yet has made the most of that punishment. It is time for Mr. Combs to go home to his family so he can continue his treatment and try to make the most of the next chapter of his extraordinary life. A sentence no greater than 14 months is plainly sufficient, but not greater than necessary to accomplish the purpose of sentencing articulated in the 18 USC 3553A. It is the only just and fair sentence that could be imposed. Now, this is the argument. Shout out to y'all. Let me check on the chat because I can't see that, y'all. As you can see, I can't see that. Just do a quick read with this. And I'm going to break this down into a couple of parts because this is a lot. This is a lot. It's most definitely a lot. Let's start the argument, though. Sentencing courts must fashion a punishment that fits the offender and not merely the crime. Pepper versus the United States. As the court is aware, it must consider and weigh all the factors enumerated in 18 USC 3553A and shall impose a sentence sufficient but not greater than necessary to achieve the goals of sentencing, including punishment, deterrence, protecting the public, and rehabilitation. The guidelines are but one factor and are not determinative, as the court must make an individualized assessment of the appropriate sentence based on the facts presented. Cite another case. Thus, a district court may freely depart from the range recommended by the guidelines based not only on an individualized determination that the guidelines yield an excessive sentence in a particular case, but also based on policy disagreement with the guidelines themselves. Accordingly, regardless of what the guidelines range the court adopts for the reasons set forth below, the only fair and just sentence for after applying all the 3553A factors is a sentence of no more than 14 months imprisonment. Mr. Combs's history and his characteristics. A. Mr. Combs's upbringing and the effect of the death of his father on his life. Sean Combs was born November 4th, 1969, at a women's hospital in Harlem, New York, to the union of Janice and Melvin Earl Combs. The small family lived in Harlem, New York. Melvin Combs was a U.S. Air Force veteran and popular larger-than-life figure. His employment was not clear. Some said that he was the heroin connection to Harlem and was a drug kingpin. That's what I've heard. I'm from New York. When Mr. Combs was just 3 years old, his father was murdered on the streets of Manhattan on January 26, 1972. 31-year-old Melvin Combs was sitting in a Lincoln Continental on 106th Street and Central Park West when 3 bullets were fired into the right side of his head and unaliving him instantly. Homicide detective Edward Kelly reported that the bullets were likely fired by someone sitting in the front passenger seat and that the shooting was a hit due to the drug dealing. The killing of Melvin Combs was well known throughout Harlem, and it was a major hit on the driver of one of the most powerful drug dealers in the history of New York. Also, Melvin was well known and well liked in his neighborhood, and his unaliving, still unsolved after 53 years, was a major source of discussion by everyone who knew him and the Combs family. The violent unaliving of Mr. Combs' father traumatized the family forever due to the circumstances surrounding the unaliving. The family told young Mr. Combs only that his father was unalived in his car in a traffic accident. As Mr. Combs grew, the older kids and some of the men in Harlem said things about his father that led him to wonder whether the story told by his family was true. People in the streets would gratuitously no people. Wait a minute, where am I? Okay, his father's definitely not an accident. Do we want to go through all this fluff of the life? Or do we want to get into what the hell happening with this case? Diddy, we will see the documentary, homie. What happened when you was a youth? You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, y'all. Y'all want the youths? Y'all into that? Where am I? Hold up. Where am I? Where the hell is I at? Listen, y'all. Is we going back to 1973 on this? Or do we want to know what the hell's going on right now? I think we're going to skip some of this, bro. It's 80, 100 pages. We're not doing this on Jesus Christ feet. Misha Mack. Shout out my girl Misha Mack in the building. Listen. Let me see, man. Are we really getting to this nigga life, man? Hold up, bro. Hold on, bro. Let me just see something. Let me just skim. Hold up. And we know his pops was unalived. We get it. His mom drove a school bus. That's good things to know. You know what I mean? If y'all want to know his life, you know what I'm saying? It's a good thing that I ain't know none of this. So I really don't want to skip it because I ain't going to go back and read this. Straight, I'm really not. Let me just try to read as much of it as good. Mrs. Combs raised Mr. Combs as a single mother while she was also caring for her elderly ailing mother. She worked 3 jobs to provide him with a good education. Letter of Janice Combs. She drove a school bus actually, during mornings and afternoon hours on the weekdays, worked at the United Cerebral Palsy home in the evening caring for patients, and worked on the weekends as a salesperson in a clothing store. As strong and capable as Miss Combs is, it is difficult, if not impossible, for her to keep the trauma and fear of having one's husband unalived in the same neighborhood in which the family continued to live. And we still on with Diddy. Okay, so we just gonna skim. A brother passed away due to D-Rug overdose, and he left behind a daughter, Keisha, who became an orphan. Miss Combs took Keisha in to prevent her from going into foster care. Cool. She was extra protective of Diddy. Strong belief in God, religion, faith, and redemption. At the age of 10, he became a parish at the parish boy. Nah, we ain't doing that. Son, we going back to when he became the parish at the age of 10. Nah. Chill, chill, chill. Chill, Diddy. Chill, chill, chill. Chill, you gotta skip this. All of this. It gotta be skipped. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. 2014, 27 years after sitting in the library with the microfilm, Combs was back at Howard University delivering the school's 146 commencement address. Okay. This is what he said. Let's read what he said. My world was changed here at Howard. On my second day of school, I learned something that would change the course of my life forever. I don't talk about this often. I was raised by a single mother. My dad, Mr. Melvin Combs, died when I was 3 years old. There was something about that didn't feel right. There was something in my soul that was telling me otherwise. So as soon as I got here, I went to the library and I did some research. I used the microfilm I found and I searched all the newspapers. When I typed in my father's name and the day he died, I read in the Amsterdam News that he had been unalived in a drug deal gone bad. Right there in that library, I realized that there was nothing more important than family. So that's him talking about the death of his pops. So we already know. We already know. Okay. Let me just see how they closed it out though. Um, his world changed because he finally learned about the truth about his father, the trauma of losing his father, not being able to talk about what happened to him, and finally learning years later that he was unalive, never left Sean Combs. However, did exactly what he said he would do at Howard University commencement speech. He put his family first and was the best father and son and brother he knew how to be. Mr. Combs' dedication. Where we at right now? Where we at? 57 minutes is cool on this rate. I'm gonna start another one. I'm gonna break these down to the reads, man. I'm gonna do them in an hour. Hour reads, bang. I'm gonna do another one. Shout out to everybody. Just make sure y'all dropping likes on the way in. Make sure y'all most definitely are subscribing to the channel, hitting the notification bells, putting them all on. As you can see, YouTube's playing games with the notifications. Don't care. But make sure you're notified. Make sure y'all all hit notified. Unsubscribe, subscribe back, hit notified. Make sure you get the notifications because people are messaging me, and that's what they told me they did, and they're receiving my notifications now. So I'm gonna tell y'all the same thing. Shout out to everybody that popped up in the chat. Shout out to all my people, all the gang. But we got through the fluff. I had to read the fluff on one. Whatever. You mad, Whatever. I had to get through the beginning to see what this document's about. At least we know where we're at in this document. I can understand how his father's life and all these things can be traumatizing and affect him in his life. But I'd rather go down to like more like page 120 something where they said where he's made these changes and stuff like that. That's the stuff that I want to see. You know what I'm saying? What changes has he been going through? What changes is he making? What changes he plan on making? What steps he plan on taking? These are the things that really, really need to be talked about for real. I think the past history and all that stuff, I don't think the judge is going to really think about these things. You know what I mean? He's going to be like, all right, cool. But that's everybody got to pass. The judge probably say, you know what happened to my father? We don't know what Judge Aaron's life is like. You know what I mean? He might say, you know what happened to my parent, bro? You don't know. You see what I'm saying? So some people were still able to overcome. He was still able to overcome and overachieve. Regardless of his father and all these things that happened, he was able to overachieve. Even if he was a functional addict, because he was a functional addict, he was able to function on the highest levels. He was running billion-dollar businesses and all types of stuff like that, hundreds of million-dollar businesses, while doing all of this, while on the D-Rugs, all of that, right? While FOing every weekend forever. It's crazy, bro. Doing all of that. And Jane testified that his gums was gray and his hands was shaky and all of these things, which were signs of D-Rug use and abuse. But she still was frolicking with him, and still, she said she seen that from the very beginning. She noticed that his gums were gray and his eyes was yellow like jaundice. This is her testimony. You can bring it back right now. I know that whole case in my head. I sat in that courtroom. She said Diddy's gums were gray. I never even heard of no shit like that. She said Diddy's gums were gray. His eyes were yellow like jaundice, and his hands were shaky through alcohol. Feel me? And but she still continued with him. So that goes to show you this is at his state when she seen him. So beyond the other states where he's been at it, he's been at this lifestyle for years with Cassie for at least 10 years or whatever the case. He introduced her to that lifestyle at 22 years of age. See what I'm saying? She was with him for like, what are you talking about? Like 11 years, right? 10 years, 11 years. So we can understand that many things played a role in these things. Did he get time served? That's the big question, though. Will he get time served? I don't know. I really, really don't know. Tell you the truth. But I am going to do another video. Gangster. I am going to do that. Make sure y'all subscribe to my people. Shout out to my girl Zana in the building. Y'all do what she's saying. Hit the like button, subscribe, share, do all those things. You already know. Shout out to my girl Misha Mack. You already know. Subscribe to those channels. You already know how we doing it. And that's what we're doing. So y'all subscribe now. I'm going to load this thing up. I'm going to do another one. And we're going to get into a read. I could cut down the fluff. And we could kind of get to what we really need. I'm also going to do a video upload on this. I was going to make this a video upload. I think it'd have been good. But it'd have been fluffed. So I didn't want to do that. So y'all just bear with me. It's a lot to read. It's 380 pages. Gangster. Sony, you already know the vibes. He's trying to get the judge to sympathize, and it's going to work. Ooh, you think so? It might. I don't know, though. We never know what nobody been through. The judge is a human being, though. We don't know if he got daughters, and we don't know if his mother been through some abuse or something in her life, and we don't know what he's been through. So like, yo, bro, because he got people in his ear, too. Remember, the judge tells you and tells us that we can't speak about it. I still say Jane's name is Jane, even though we all know who Jane is. That's how much I respect the judge shit. You know what I'm saying? I still call her Jane, bro, all the time. I never called her by her real name. Straight, bro. Okay? That's how much I respect it. But the judge could tell us that, but the judge could talk about whatever the hell he wants to talk about. So people come to him and talk to him and say, yo, what you think, bro? Imagine family members, imagine people coming to him and friends like, yo, bro, what do you think, bro? Yo, gonna let him get away with this? But you know, imagine people's in his ear saying things like that, bro. Imagine, because remember, we're just human. We're keeping it real to many things in life. Sometimes we keeping it real to other things and other people more than we keeping it to ourselves. So let's keep it real, bro. What kind of person is he? We don't know what he's been through. We don't know what type of, you know what I'm saying? Come on. We know some of the people that's the most insecure people want to get the most strongest positions in life, like a judge. You want to be an officer now. You want to be this person because you ain't never been that person sometimes. You know, a lot of times that's why they be overextending with the power, right? Come on, bro. Keep it real. Keep it real. Some people never had the power. Some people just do it because they want to do it. They're in their family. They like to do shit. There's many reasons why people do things, but a lot of time people are insecure in life, and then they want to find positions of power so that they can be in a position to boss people around or be in that position where everybody got to listen to them or be around them because they've never been that person in life. So we don't know what characteristics, what personality traits that the judge has. We don't know what he's been through in his life, his past, because all of those things are going to come into this. Straight. It would be wrong, like they say in some ways, based on some cases, for Diddy to get sentenced in this way and that way. This is based on the defense, not based on what I'm saying. This is based on what the defense saying. It would be wrong, right? But the judge still don't have to abide by that. What are you talking about? He doesn't. He watched the case like the jury watched the case. He has his own take on this case. He has his own take, regardless of who thought what. Because he right now could think, and the jury got this case wrong, man. He really was guilty of all of this. You know, the judge could think like that. So what do you mean? So the question is, so to me, I think the prosecution is trying to get out everything that they didn't get out of the other charges that he was acquitted of. They're trying to get them out of these two charges, and they're going to try to get pushed for like a 20 or a 10 or more time, right? But what do you think he's going to get? Do you think he deserves more time than 14 months? We haven't gone into everything yet, but we went into the beginning, some of the grounds of why they feel 14 months is adequate, right? Time for him to be serving and for him to be rehabilitated by now in 14 months. You know, based on the charges, though. Based on the charges, not what he was alleged, just based on the charges, it's tuition. If you had a homegirl, a sister, or brother that was caught up on some tuition, they was doing it too with them and all this weirdo. You're like, what? You'd have probably said freedom, bro. Come on, stop. Did they force them? Remember, the jury said they ain't forced nobody. The jury said he ain't forced nobody, bro. The jury said that. He didn't coerce nobody. He didn't fraud nobody. You see what I'm saying? So based on that, if you had a friend or someone that was in a situation like this, and they was just there for tuition, minus the other things that ever was there, it's not there. They did caught up on some tuition. They was having some actual thing with their relation with their partner, and they was bringing some other third party in, which a lot of people are doing, especially in that industry. So that means a lot of people are guilty of this thing. So that means that Diddy's just the first, and it's going to be many people that's going to be caught up in fricos now, obviously, because Diddy can't be the only one. People are bringing people across lines to do sex. What are you talking about, bro? It's mad people doing that. Regular people. The you and me's of the world is regular people fly out. Yo, we flying you in. What are you talking about? All that fly out culture. We in a fly out culture. Women trying to be flued out and all this other stuff. This is where we're at in this culture, you know. People want to be flued out and all this other stuff. We seeing people flying out going wrong. People getting left at airports. Keep people getting stuck in hotels and all type of shit. We done seen that on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and everything. But we're in a fly out culture. So now we got to be very careful in this world right now with this fly out culture based on this case right there alone. It's brought another awareness. It's brought another attention to this fly out culture, bro. Because you could, everything, you got the pretenses. Yo, listen, now when you come through, it's going to be cool. Nah, I'm going to bring you here. Nah, I'm going to buy you some shit and all that. Bum, 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 bum. Mad promises, which is the fraud, because you ain't going to do it. Yeah. Then the other shit, you probably get somebody, right? It don't have to be that it happened. Imagine a person just saying that is that you do this and you're doing this and you did this. Right? People can lie on people. I'm just saying, though. You did the flying out, though. The receipts is here, though. The receipts is there. They got text messages saying you promised. Boom, 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 boom. So even though we don't know the particulars of what happened in the room, around it, it could look fishy for you, bro. Right? You flew it out. You got the messages. Nah, you promised it. Did you receive it? Nope. She never received the thing. Remember? Because I promised her. Played the. Then you can say probably, yo, I mean, I did it with him. He made me do it under false pretenses, and you know what I mean? And he told me I was gonna. No, bro. You can find yourself in a freako, bro. You know what I'm saying? Basically, what they was also trying to do with this Diddy case was they was trying to say, like, if we're past, like, let's say we're in the room, right? Listen, let's say we in the room, right? And I pass you like I pass you the D rugs or whatever. I pass you the, you know what I mean, the D rugs. That's distribution. So we also distributing, bro. You didn't distribute nothing, bro. Y'all here. Y'all like to smoke weed, drink, and do what y'all doing, bro. Y'all pop E's and shit. That's what y'all be doing, bro. See what I'm saying? You give her the ill pay. You give her the pilly, whatever. Now you done distributed. It don't matter the amount. You done distributed the work to her, plus all the other things, you know what I'm saying? So this whole case was a crazy case. Danielle, salute, queen. Yeah, man. Dominique, salute. Ray, salute. You already know all of my people in the building. Yeah, though, bro. Shit is crazy, bro. This whole case is crazy. But listen, I'm gonna go into more of a read on this. We'll clock this at an hour. I'm gonna do another read for an hour. We're just gonna block them out like that. Bang, 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 bang. Because it's 100 and something, 300 and something pages, and this ain't Titanic, homie. Niggas ain't. You think this hat good enough? The fuck I look like Indiana Jones or some shit? What you think, bro? 3 hours? Chill, bro. I ain't show speed. I'm his father. It's my son. Not show. But shout out to all of y'all though. Make sure y'all are subscribing to the channel, hitting the notification bells. Make sure y'all notified. You heard?
All my niggas from the Uda. All my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn racks. All my niggas turn shooters. On the internet, you ain't been a threat. All my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn racks. All my niggas from the Uda. All my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn racks. All my niggas turn shooters. On the internet, you ain't been a threat. You been stuck in a computer. Show me the proof. All my niggas turn shooters. All my niggas from the Uda. Welcome to the Uda. All my niggas from the Uda. All my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn racks. All my niggas turn shooters. On the internet, you ain't been a threat. You been stuck in a computer. Show me the proof. All my niggas turn shooters. All my niggas from the Uda. Welcome to the Uda. All of my niggas insane. They tryna catch a mistake. Young niggas putting in pain. It in the game, all for the game. Niggas ain't playing for nothing. Went in school, laying in bang. My little nigga kill my little nigga. Full-time job not to kill niggas. Jump off the porch of the field, nigga. You was in the house, I'm a field nigga. No fuck boys around real niggas. Been a drug dealer since a little nigga, huh? To get a kilo, they'll kill a nigga. Fuck how you feel, nigga. To get some kilos, I'll kill a nigga too. Throw that rock like I'm Montana. Good head, raise my antennas. G49, not San Fran. Beat the box with my bandana. Then I dip set like I'm Santana. I'm in UK like that Montana. She bring me money, you press her. You got a jug of Vanessa. I give a dick that'll change your life. You leave a change on the dresser. Shorty, a wetty, a wetty. That pussy ready, get ready. Don't wanna get ahead of myself, but I want the head for the Getty. She said she fuck with the Uda.